So I'm sure a lot of you have heard about a story involving the R&B slash pop singer named David. His name is spelled out as d4vd. He's got one of those names where he takes a number and basically uses that to represent a letter within his name, kind of similar to how the R&B artist named Black uses a 6 for a B in his name. Yet I still always somehow end up pronouncing it as Six Lack in my head every time I see it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try my best to get you caught up on everything that happened with this story, because I'm sure you've probably seen headlines, but you might not know exactly what happened. And I'm just going to warn you right now, this is a pretty awful and truly disturbing story. I also want to emphasize for my protection that everything I'm stating here is alleged and nothing has been proven in court, and as far as I know, no charges have been filed. So David first got popular in 2022. I didn't really hear about him until 2023 when he dropped an album titled Petals to Thorns. R&B is one of my favorite genres, so oftentimes I end up listening to random R&B albums when I'm checking out the new releases for the week. I remember walking away from this album thinking it was, pretty solid, but it didn't really do anything to blow me away or make me want to come back to it again. But during this time after he released the album, he ended up seeing a lot of success, including opening up for SZA on her SOS tour. Despite his success, I had mostly forgot about his existence during this time period until one day when I was riding around with one of my friends. He was playing this song from the Invincible soundtrack, and it was titled Feel It, and it was by David. And I really enjoyed this song during this time period. It was just a fun pop love song that had a really, feel good vibe to it. I didn't really think to check any more of his stuff out after that, and I really didn't think much of him after that. That was just kind of the last thing I remember about David before I ended up seeing this story. So what happened exactly? Well, on September 8th, the story had broke where a body was discovered in the front trunk of an impounded Tesla that belonged to David. The police had stated that the victim had been deceased for quite some time and that the body was found in a pretty gruesome state. And that's just me putting it lightly to avoid having to go into too much detail on that. I remember seeing this story and initially thinking that there was just no way that David had anything to do with this. His vehicle was found abandoned in a random neighborhood, which led me to think that, perhaps his vehicle had got stolen and that's how all of this came about. I also thought, he is rich and I'm sure he has a lot of people that have access to vehicles that belong to him. So in my head, there were a lot of different possible explanations for this that didn't involve David. Also, just the thought of somebody leaving a body in a vehicle that belonged to them just didn't sound logical to me, because I was just like, there's just no way anybody could be that stupid to do something like that. Unfortunately, things get very disturbing from this point. So on September 16th, the medical examiner over the case discovered that the body was of a young girl named Celeste Hernandez. Celeste would be 15 years old if she was still alive, and apparently Celeste went missing when she was 13 years old from a town southeast of the Los Angeles area. After it was discovered who the body belonged to, this led people to speculate whether or not Celeste Hernandez and David were in fact connected. One of the first things that I saw pointed out was the fact that David had a tattoo on his index finger, and supposedly it matches a tattoo that Celeste's mother had described being on the inside of Celeste's index finger. I'll post a picture of David's tattoo so you could see what I'm talking about. Celeste's mother also stated that Celeste did have a boyfriend and his name was David. And there was also a teacher of Celeste that basically said that she met the singer David through social media. There was also a leaked song that recently came out where David mentions somebody named Celeste. The lyrics go as follows: "Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. Smell her on my clothes like cigarettes. Hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed." There's also been a lot of stuff that is came out of Discord servers that have linked David to Celeste. There was a stream where David had asked his mods to end, and he was seen on that stream sitting next to Celeste. This stream took place in January of 2024, making Celeste 13 at the time of the stream. There were people in the chat that were telling David that he got caught in 4K and that he was going to get canceled, indicating that some people, likely knew that he was dating a minor. He also posted a private Instagram story where he is seen taking a selfie with a girl who appears to be Celeste. There's also a few different chats on Discord indicating that David and Celeste were indeed dating. There's been some speculation that Celeste could have been pregnant, but I haven't seen anything to confirm that. So at this point, I'll just say that's, pure speculation. Currently, collaborators are distancing themselves from David. Caliucci says she's in the process of removing a song that her and David made together from streaming. He's also canceled his tour. No charges have been filed at the time of me recording this, and the police say that he's been cooperative. But to me, this story is truly one of the most disturbing and disgusting stories that I've heard from a celebrity in a while. The fact that he was doing this and doing it so openly, and that there were, apparently people that knew about it and were okay with it, is also sickening. There's a lot of questions that still need to be answered. My hope is that, the family of Celeste can find out what really happened to her and get closure from the situation. If there's any information you feel like that I missed, just go ahead and drop that in the comments. I just wanted to, kind of let everybody know what's going on with this, because I'm sure a lot of people have just only seen the headlines and might not know exactly what's going on.